Hi devs, welcome to Becodewala. I welcome you to the part 2 of our portfolio website that we are building using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So we are going to continue the next part. So we have built home section, about section and skill section. Now we are going to build the project section. So in project section, we have to build the cards, right, where you can showcase your project that you have built. So what are the things? So you can see that the heading which is common to all the section. So now we have to build these cards and this hovering effect. When we hover, glowing effect card and the live demo and the GitHub icon should appear over the image, right? So we are going to build this. Once we build one card, we can copy the same style, right? And just we have to change the data for each card. So all card looks similar, so we are going to build the same style for the each card, where you can showcase your future projects. So you can mention your tech stack, live demo, GitHub code and the description about your project. So if you are new to our channel, please don't forget to subscribe us. And I have created the part 1 of our tutorial, so you can go and watch the part 1. So here you can search on YouTube, you will get the part 1 of our coding tutorial regarding the portfolio. So be code wala. So here you can see that I have uploaded the part 1 right here. Build a stunning portfolio, a website using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So you can go and watch the tutorial. And now let's continue building our. So let's build our project section. So in project section, we have to similarly build the with the section tag like we build for skill section. So in project section, here we have to create a section tag, and here also we have to pass the class name project and the section, that the common class that we are using, right, for the styling that I have explained in the part 1. Then here I have a id project to go to the particular id. Then we are wrapping all the our contain in a container, all the elements that we are going to use in our project section in a div container. Then after that we are going to create a h2 tag, right? We have to create the h2 tag which will be the title on the top, right? So we have created the h2 tag, right? So we need the title on the top, so like this. So this title, we have already used the same class for this and for this also, right? That's why it is already applied the style for this part. Now we have to create a div, and in this div we have mentioned the project grid. So in project grid, so we are going to use the grid in the CSS to showcase how many cards should be shown on the small devices, how many cards should be shown on the large devices. So for that we are going to style using grid. Then in this div we'll create multiple cards. So you can see that we have created the multiple card. So mention your projects as many as you have. So just in once you created one project card, so in this we have created a div. In this project card we have we are showing our image first. So in image, this is the image URL. Then overlay. So like when we hover on this, in the last part I have shown you, see here we have used the overlay. See when you hover on it, so it removed the this the color from the image, right? When you hover on it, and it will scale. So we have created a div where we have to overlay this live demo and the GitHub link, right? When we hover with this icon, that icon, how we are going to get the icon I've shown you in the part 1, like font awesome. Then we have used the class project link so that we can style this links the button. Then after this image, what are the things we have below this image? We have project content. So in project content we can mention right here, let me scroll below. In the project we can mention the text tag, what the text tag you are using, name of the project and the description of the project, right? So here we have mentioned the text tag, right, in the container, right? These are the text tag we are going to use. Then the name of the project in the heading, and the paragraph. So we are using paragraph, heading, div, like in a particular container it should not include other elements, right? So that's why we use div, separate div to style each part. So you can pause the video and you can go through it. So here section tag, then in this section we have written all our the projects. So here we have created one project. You can pause the tutorial and you can write the code. So after writing one, so similarly we have to copy paste this for the second project also. Just we have to change the data right here, the different link, the project link right here in href. So you can change the link for this project. For this project you can change the image also, the name and the text tag we can change for the other project, but styling will be the same. So we have used the same class for so that it will be styled. So it is, we have to style this, it is looking ugly without the css. So let's go for the css and style each part, right? So in each part, so first of all we are going to use the project, that class that we are getting. So in project class we are using bg darker. So here it will apply the dark bg right here in the project section, and you can see that here it is in a row wise, right? In a, like, it is showing three here, one two three images, right, in a row, right? So these three images it is showing because we have written the auto fit, it will automatically fit with the maximum mean max 350 pixel. So depend on your like width of your device it will take. So we have used 350 pixel for each card and one fr. So in a column, grid template column, so in a column it should be three like cards, right? And we are using grid, so grid make your like cards responsive, right? And how many cards we have to show depend on the device, you can write it here. Then gap between the card we are using especially. So these are the root variables that we have created in the part 1. So you can go and watch part 1 if you have not watched. Then for each project card, right? So for each project that the background color should be this, then backdrop filter 20 pixel blur, then border, then border radius for each card, then overflow will be hidden if any elements will overflow, then transition we have entered the transition base and the cursor pointer. So now after applying this you can see that we have added the background and all, right? Now we have to style this image. It is height is too long, right? So we can style this image. Then we have to move this live and github when the user will hover, right? So currently it is showing without hovering, so we have to handle that case. So how we are going to style for that part? So on project hover, what we want to do, that it will translate to y, right? In a y axis minus 10 pixel and the shadow will glow. So see the glow shadow and translating in y, right? Then after that, for the image container we have written our right image in a div, particular div, right? In that div we have to fit our image, right? So we have the our height is more, right, of our image. Now we have defined the height is 250 pixel, overflow hidden, and width will be same. Then position relative for the container, right? In a container you can see that now the image is perfect, right? Now after that we can, like, this is for the container in which the image was present, right, in the div, right? Now for the project image, right, for the project image we want height width 100%, object fit cover, and transition slow. So you can see that we have also styled the image and it is perfectly covered with our div, right? Then and after that when we hover on project card, so what should happen to the image? So transform to scale 1.1. So now image is also scaling. Before only card was scaling, now image is also scaling, right? So this is the, so overlay. Now let's go for the overlay. So currently see our the icon, the GitHub icon, it is not showing, right? Because we have to, when we hover on it then we have to show. So first of all we have to make position absolute because we have already made the relative according to the page the project image container. This is the parent, so this is the child. So we are going to add with the position absolute. Then we have to take left and top 0. Then we have to make the width and height 100% for this overlay, so that it will perfectly go in the like image container. Then background we have written this color and the flex. So the button, the GitHub icon, it should be like in a flex, but we can make it in a row column wise. So this is the column wise, so you can write it separately, right, when we write for that. So here we have added the project overlay. Then after that, when we hover on it, so currently it is not showing anything, right? So when we write here, let me write the project card. On hovering project overlay, opacity will be 1. So now opacity, see, opacity is 1. Now the project overlay is showing, see, the live demo and GitHub. Before it was not showing because we have not written the opacity 1, right? Now here we have written the initially 0, right? That's why it is hidden, right? So each project links, how we are going to start the project links. So currently our project links is something looking like this. We have to make in a one by one, so in a column wise, and then we have to style. So first of all we write the flex and flex direction column, so that one by one, one above other. So now you can see that one above other, right? So each project link, how we are going to style. So we have to make the a div, right, with the particular width and background color, opening effect and all. So we have made the padding. We are using padding for the creating a div space, then background color, then border filter, then the border radius for the button. Then we have written the color of that, the button that we have used, the button color, right, and the border, right? So an align item center should be, it should be in center. What are the elements should be in a this div, right, the project links, right? So and we have made the gap 8 pixel between the buttons, right? Now when we hover on project links, right, what should happen? So yeah, initially it is not showing any hovering effect, right? So when we hover, the background color should change to this, color of the text change to this, and then scale 1.1. See the background color, see now it is. So this is the thing that we have added. Then the project content, let's go for the project content. We have a heading and all. So first of all we have to add the padding, right? So it will take the padding space inside this. So inside, if you want a space inside, we have to use padding, and if you want the right the space outside, we have to use like margin. So each project tag, so project tag had like each like text tag that we have mentioned, right? So that display will be flex, and flex wrap, so that it will, if if it exceed then more than width, so it will come to the next line. That's why we use wrap. Then gap between those and margin bottom sm. So where is our, see, we have mentioned here. Now we can style it more, right? Project tag, so we can style with the, like we can make a particular div, right, box, and using padding inner. Then we have made the background, border, font size. So now it's looking great, right? You can see that. And we have added the shadow also, so we can add the shadow also. So we here we have added the font weight, padding, background. So it depends on you how you want to style your cards. Then here project title, so each project title should have this font size, font weight, margin bottom, and the color. So after that we can style the project description. About the project description, like we can make the color, line height, and the font size. So you can see that it is totally fine. You can see that we have made our successfully feature projects, right? And it is working totally fine, right? So you can click on skill section and project section. You can see that smooth scrolling, right, that we have added in our HTML body, right? So let's go for the another section. So another section, we have to create the professional journey. So this is the most important section of this portfolio project. So you can see that we have created the this timeline, right, line, and the, you can see that it's with the dotted animation, and in the right hand side with the card. And this card is looking similar styling to this card only. Just we have to focus on this outline, that the line timeline we have created here and with the dotted animation, right? So how we are going to create for this part? So let's create this, but here the heading will be common as other section, right? So let's go and create the this part. So in the index.html, let me close this. So in index.html, similarly we have to use the same section, right, that we are using in others also. So it is the same section, and in this section here we have to mention just experience. So experience here, this experience we are using this class to make the each section card, like each section should have the different background color, so different style if you want to for the different all the section, right? So you can use the class and you can style according to your needs. So here, then after that we are going to wrap everything in a container, right? So first of all, in container we have a title and the above the number for professional journey. So you can see that the number for professional journey, right, in the title above. Now we have to style all the content that is present. So we have to wrap in a separate div for this. So we have created the separate div here named timeline with the class timeline, right? So in this timeline we can mention your like experience in this your professional journey. So in the first timeline we have created the div in a box. So in that box we want the dot first. So first we want the dot. So you can see that the dot on the right hand side, but it is not looking right. Well, we have to create using CSS, right? Then after that we in the right side we have a content, right? The cards that we have seen here. You can see that on the right hand side we have a card. In the card we have this year, the your position. Then here we have written here the company. Then here we have mentioned that the description of your role. Then here we have the text tag that we have worked on. So there we have mentioned in the h3 tag, a span tag, h4 tag for the like company. Then we have mentioned in a paragraph about your job description. Then the skills we have written in a separate div, and skill is similar, like we have created the skill right here. For the skill, like you can style in a similar fashion. So you can take the inspiration from the text section. So similarly we have to just copy this the timeline one. So this is the timeline one, and copy paste and just change the company name if you have more experience, and you can mention the year and the companies, just change the data here, and the styling everything will be the same, right? So in the style.css we have to start with the our experience, that experience class, so that we have used in the section tag. So we are going to use the different background for the section tag. So here for the project we have a different background. For the here professional journey we have a different background. Then in the timeline we have made the position reliability because it will be the parent, right? Then in this we are going to attach all the children that are present with the position absolute. Then the max width for this like section we have edited the timeline, the max width 900 pixel and a margin 0 and auto for the making in the center, and padding from the left 40 pixel. Then you can see that it is something looking like this from the padding 40 pixel, right? Then we have to make the timeline, right? The line, straight line, you can see that you have to make the straight line. So see, it is now looking at this straight line through this div. So how we are going to, so in the timeline in the div, in this div we have written all the content, right? So we have to make the left hand side we have made the it line, right? How we are going to make the line? So here first of all we are going to use before pseudo class, right? Then here in the content it should be empty, right? Then the position absolute as we have I told you. Then left 0, top 0, from the left and top we have to make 0 because it should be in the left hand side, right? Then the height we have made the 100%, so it will take the height 100% and width 2 pixel. If we increase the width, so like 20, so now it can see that the width, see, this is the width. So this how we have created, right? And from background color we have mentioned this color, right? Then after that we have to go for the timeline item. So in this we have a many cards, right? And each card should be a dotted, right? So how we are going to style everything? So timeline items, we have made the position relative. We are considering a different parent, and in this parent we are going to style the children. So here position relative and margin and padding from the left. So we have made the margin padding for each. So you can see that the space between each card, right? So keep focus on what I told. You can pause the tutorial and you can type the code. Otherwise, you can get the full source code from the description. So after that, we have to create the dot, right? How we are going to create the dot for each timeline. So first of all, we have to create the dot. How the dot design it would be. So we have mentioned the position absolute, and then from left 9 minus 9 pixel, then from top 0, then width and height, so that, and we can make the border is 50% so that it will be round, and the box shadow and z index, right? You can see that now it is not animating, right? So we have to add the animation also, right? So how we are going to add it? So first of all, for the dot, after we have made the position absolute, from the top and left we have made the 50%. So for the animation, so we are going to create another dot, the similar type of dot. So that dot will be coming and going, right? Increasing the size and decreasing. So after applying the animation, right? So for that we have made the similar but with the larger. So top left 50, and the transfer translate and height width will be also increase. Here height with the 20 and 20. Here we have used 40 40. So and border is 50. So we have to show the same, we are creating the same way the dot, but it should be bigger, so that dot will be animate. So we have used the animation a ripple. We have created a name animation ripple for the 2 second and infinite. So how we are going to create the animation keyframes, that we are going to use keyframes. So we have mentioned the name that we have mentioned a ripple. Then from the 0 it will be initially the 0.5 opacity, and it will start from transform from minus 50% to minus 50% in the xy. Then we have written the scale 0.5. Now scale, it will increase its size to 1.5, and then translate in the same, we have mentioned the same, and opacity will be 0 at 100%. So now we can see that, see, now opacity decrease, see now it appear, then it's disappear, see disappear, now it start again and disappear, see its size increase and 100% it disappear, right? So you can see that this how we create the animation for your site, and your website look very impressive. Now you have a timeline content, right? In the content we have mentioned, or we have to mention the card, right? So for the timeline content, we have made the background color, then the backdrop filter, then the border radius padding transition. So you can see that we have mentioned for the each card. Now we have to style this like year, how much year we have worked on. So first of all, you can style the right timeline when you hover on it. So translate to 10 pixel in x axis. Then we have to make the box shadow and the border color. See in the x axis, and you can see that this hovering effect. See how it looking cool, right? And backdrop filter make your cards very amazing, so must use it. And here the timeline date, so each date have a, like we have to make in a inline block. Then we have to make the padding so that it will create the inner width, and it created like box, right? Then we have mentioned the background light we have created for the other, right? So here we have mentioned the border radius, font weight, and margin from the bottom. You can see that like the same way we have created for this, the the text tag that we have mentioned, right? So same way, same style you can use it here also, right? And you can use the same class, that will be very easy. We have to not write code again, so you can use the same class in the like that the year that we timeline date that we have written here. Then the timeline title, so in the timeline we have a title, job profile title. So we have mentioned the font size and all. We can increase the font size, and we can change the color if you want. Then timeline company, so we have to style the company name, like we have to make the font size, font weight, margin button from the right. So you can make change the color. Then we can style this like the description of that, the work position, that the role you have got. So for that we can make the color different text secondary you can make it, right? And we can make the margin from button. And now we have a timeline skills. We have mentioned the skill on which we had or work in that company. So for that, first of all, we made in flex and flex wrap, and it will be in the row side, and it will provide the gap between each, see, each text. And now you can style it more. So you can use the same class, otherwise you can create a different style. So for the timeline skill, for each span we have to create the a particular div, right? A rounded div that we have created for the year. So similarly we have created using the padding, background, border radius, font size, hover transition. So when you hover in this skill, so the background color will change, border color will change, color of the text will change. So you can see that when you hover and you see it is changing. You can make the cursor pointer. So here we can add made the cursor pointer, so it will be more good. So you can see the cursor pointer, you can see that make the cursor pointer, right? So depend on you how we are going to style your professional journey. So now we left with the last part, context section. So in context section, what are the things we have? So in context section, the same, the top heading, that is common to all, but in left hand side just simple heading or paragraph. Then we have a like the this div that we have created, and when hovering it is translating to x, right? You can see that then hovering it will translate to x, right? And it when you hover, the border color also appear, right? We can add the glowing effect also. And here you can see that we have used the icon that we can get from the font awesome. Then here the mention the your email, phone number, location, all these three cards are looking similar in a column wise, right? And all this is the left section, this is the whole left section. Now in the right section here we have a form. We have created a div, and in this div we have written the different right fields where you can mention and you can send the message. And we have added the input validation also. That input validation we are going to add using JavaScript, and you can add it in HTML also. So you can make it. And here below you can see that we have a footer. You can mention the footer here, the social link you can mention on the right hand side, and you can see there the hovering effect, the same hovering effect for the social link that we have created in during the like hero section, right? So let's create our this contact section, get in touch. So how we are going to create? So to create that, first of all go to the HTML file, right? Now we have to use the same section wise, so that section we have created for this, right? So similarly we can create the section for the contact also. So for the contact, let me show you. For the contact we have created the same section, right? And we have mentioned the same class section, and we are going to change the background color for this section different. That's why we use the class contact. Then here the id, that id we are going to use to, like when you click on the name links, right, it will go to the particular that id we mentioned while creating the name bar. I have told you in the part 1, you can go and watch it. So here in this we have created a div container. In this container all these the element that we are going to use, like in this section, for that we have created a div. Then here we have created the h2 tag, the heading on the top, right? For each section we have a heading, right? And we have the section title, the title number, that we have a style, the same class we are using, that we have a style in the style.css that I have told you in the part 1. Now here in the div we have created a div, and in this div separate container for each element should be the separate container, so that it will be easy to manage and style each element in your website. So here first of all we have created a separate div for the contact. See how we are managing everything in a separate div, so that it should be in a separate wise. So first of all, this is the left area, this is the right area we have form. In the left we have the contact info, like your email, phone number, and location. So here in the left we have created a separate div, and so that it will be easy to manage. Then we have mentioned the heading, right? Let's create something, and the paragraph like I have told you. Then in the div we have mentioned the contact details, a separate div creating for these cards. So cards will be appear here. So here the cards will be appear. So first card, phone, email, the location, right? And after that here you can see that we can repeat the same div, right? Just you have to change the data, and here the icon, right? The icon for each. And here we have the contact icon, the same class. And you can use the same class to style the same way. Now here we have created the form. So we have created the form so that user will submit the form, and the message will appear after submitting the form in the contact section. So if we have created a separate div in this form for the form group. So in the form group, first group for the your name, where you can mention the name. So first of all we create input box, then label your name. So the label, you can see that your name and the input was how we have to style the label. When the user will click, it will go on the up and the form error. So how we are going to show the error for each, so that in this span we have to show the error, that whatever the error will come, so that we are going to show and handle the error using JavaScript, right? So similarly we can create the different form group for each input that we have going to, like for message, your message label and the message error, that if any user type any like empty message, so how we can show the error, right? So for that we have created this span. Then we have a separate button. So in this button we have mentioned the text and the icon for the button. Then here we have created a div, and in this we have mentioned the like circle and the message sent successfully. When we have to show the message sent successfully, when user will send the message after filling the contact. So currently it is showing, right, message sent successfully. So we are going to handle using like JavaScript, right? So that when the user will submit, then only it show this text. So let's style this contact section. So here you can see that the heading has already styled, right? So now we can style the contact section. So in contact section, first of all we'll start with the like the contact class that we have used in this section, like we are using in others. So first of all we have to change the background for this contact section. Then in the content we have a grid. So we have to use the two, one content on the left and right on the form, right? So we have used one fr, one fr, so it will take the same space. And then the gap we have mentioned, and the align item start, right? Then here we can use the another div like contact info, where all the information will be there, and we have added the animation fading lip for the 1 second ease out, right? So we can create the animation if you want. It will be more interactive to your site. Then for the context subtitle, you can see that the font size, right, font weight, background, and background color we have to add to the text. So how we are going to background clip text, right? So you can see that for this part, right? So these are the simple CSS style. You can use it and you can make your site more interactive. Then the contact text. So for the contact text we have mentioned the color, line height, like margin bottom, and the font size for this part, right? For this part. Now for the contact details, so display flash, flex direction column, and gap between each. So here we have used this. So here we have using the gap between each, and we have made in a column wise, so one by one, one by one, one below one, right? So let me make it big. So here after that you have to style each card. So each card have a same style, right? So we can add the same background color, right? Display flex, eyeline item center, the gap. So initially in each, so see, it should be in display flex. See, it is this icon and this in a separate. So if you want these two things should be in a column wise, you can add in is the inline element like a span inline element. Div is a block element, right? So how you have mentioned in the contact section depend on you, it will add the default like a styling, right? Here we have add the padding, background color, backdrop filter for the card, and the border radius and transition. You can see we can add the hovering effect if you want. So we can add the hovering effect for the contact details, like when you hover translate to X and border color will appear. See, border color and it will translating to X. Now we can style the icon, right? We can add the icon background color, and we can add the hovering effect and everything if you want. So we can mention the height, width, you can use the padding also. Then here we mention the display align item content center should be in a center, then background color. So you can see that the icon now it is looking great, right? But if you want more style you can add it. So content detail item, so font size we have So this is the item, the email, phone number. So we have to style this heading, right? The h4 tag. So we have mentioned the text tag color and the margin bottom what it should be from the below. Then we have to write like the paragraph, like the your email, your phone number. So that should be the font size of 1 rem, color, and the font weight will be 500. For this you can see that. Now we can style the right hand side. You can see the right hand side is looking something like we have to create a div, we have to add the background color, we have to add border hovering effect, then we have to style this input, then we have to mention your label. When you like click on this label, then it will go on the top right. If any errors come, it should be appear. So this button is already styled because we have used the same class, right? So we have already styled this button. See, this is the button that we have styled, right? So we have if you can use the same class, it will apply the style automatically for this button also. So let's style the contact form. So in contact form, first of all, we have to create a div. In that we have to add the background color, backdrop filter, then border, border radius, padding, and the animation fading. So you can see the animation fading, so it is coming from the right hand side. So we have created a div. Now after that, the form input. So each form input have a width 100% padding. We can increase the padding, the inner space, then the background color, then border, and then we can add the color of the text that if any user type, then font family and everything. So you can see that. Now this your name is looking below. We have to style our label also, right? So first of all, when if any user click, right? So here if any user click, it is showing outline, the black line it will show, right? So we don't want. So for that outline none, we want border color by our own, then background color. So you can see that, see, and it is a glowing effect, right? So box shadow that we have added. So this how we can add it. Then font text area. So we have a text area where you can mention your message, right? So minimum height and resize vertical. So this form area we can resize vertically, right? See, so let me see, it is increasing size. See, so you can resize vertically only, not the not like in the horizontally. And we can mention here, right? And here after that, each form label. So currently our form label is looking something like this. Form label on the like here. So below it is showing below. So we have to make it right. So form label. So form label position absolute, so for the child. Then here we have mentioned that from the top and left it will 16 pixel and the color of that label, and the pointer events none. And then we have added the transition. So you can see that it is all come to on the top. See, you can see that it is overlapping each other. Now we have to style it. So how we are going to style it? So first of all, on the form, right, the form input, when we input, right, the form label and not the placeholder zone, it should not in placeholder. So here we have mentioned the from the top 10 minus 10 pixel, and from the left we have mentioned 12 pixel. Then the font size we have increased, then we have to make the background color and padding. So now it is looking something like this, but on the it is on the top, right? You can see that where it is showing. So we have to style it, right? So how we are going to style it? So you can see that it is, see, it is showing on the top. You can see that when I focus on the email, you can message, now it is showing. So here it is showing. So you have to fix all these things. So first of all, let's mention the like form error, so display block, then the color for the error and the minimum height. Then for the button, so we have used the button submit, right? So for the button submit, we have measured the width 100%. So it will take the full width on the button, right, for the div, right? Then font size we can increase. So when form success, right, this success message sent successfully, this we have to show after submitting the form. So initially we have to make the hidden. So we have to mention the display none, align item center, gap, and the padding, background, border color we can mention, and we can add the animation, right, if you want. Then the form success so this is the class. When the form success, so that time you have to make the flex, that time it will show. So when we have to so when the user will submit, so we can handle this case using JavaScript. Then we have mentioned this slide enough. So for that we have added the animation using keyframes from opacity 0 to 1, and we have mentioned the translation in the y-axis from the 20 pixel to 0, right? Now here you can see that our you can see that our the all label, so not here, here our label is still not perfectly and it is on the top. So let's find the issue and fix it. So we have mistakenly written the wrong like CSS for the label, so you can go and see this. So here I am going to show you again. I will scroll it and you can show it. So here in the contact form this style should be there. You can pause the tutorial and you can type this. So this is for the form group, this is for the form input, then this is for the form input focus, then this is for the form text area, in the form label, this is for the form label, and this is the when we focus on it and where to show this position of the form label, then the display the form error, and the button that is working totally fine that I shown you, then the success message, and then the form success show, and the here we have the animation sliding up, right? Now we can go for the styling our footer section. So what are the things we have in footer section? So here we have to add the footer section. If you want you can add it. So here in the footer section, here we have your name, your copyright, and the icons on the hovering, right? So how we are going to add this? To go to the HTML. So in HTML we have to, it is very simple. So we have to use the footer tag, and in this footer tag we have to create the separate div, right? And each div we can mention the separate style. So in the footer tag we have mentioned the right the container, right? And in this container, first of all I want to mention all the content. So first content in the footer left we have a like the design by your name and the copyright with the copyright icon, then footer social icon, the social icon on the right hand side. So for that you can mention your social icon using the icon, you can see the in the anchor tag, right? Anchor tag why you use, you can mention your links to your social icon. Then we have used the class here to style this icon. So currently it is looking something like this. Let me go to the C. Our footer is looking like this. We can make in the space between so that it will come on the right hand side. So how we are going to style it, let's see. So for the footer we have to first change the background, then the padding from the like the space excel, then on the y-axis, right? And the x-axis, so we can mention it, and the border on the top, right? For the footer you can see that the footer now it is something looking like this, right? Now for the form content we have to make the flex in a row wise and the space between. That's why it is taking the space between it on the right hand side, it on the left hand side, and we have made the in the flex in a row wise, right? And the gap we have mentioned, right? Then footer on the left, how we have to style the footer left content. So we have to mention the flex direction column, and gap is 8 for this the left one. Now we can style the text, the footer text, and the copyright. So we have to, we can change the color, font size, font weight, and the color of the each. So here you can see that we have styled this. Now we can style on the right hand side the icon, the social icon, right? You can use the same social icon, otherwise you can create the new CSS style if you want. So here for the social link we have mentioned the height, width, right? For the social icon, then we have mentioned the background color, the specify content center to make it in the center so that it will not go on the corner side, and so here we have mentioned the color of the text, right? The icon that we use. So for that, then here text decoration none, so it will remove the link, the default like default style for your social link. Then here when you hover on it, the background color will be appear, the color of the icon will change, the transform in the y-axis will be 3 pixel, and box shadow will appear. So you can see that this is how we can style it, right? See, we have added. So this how we have styled our whole site, right? You can see that whole website is looking great, right? We have styled all this using HTML and CSS. Now it is not responsive, this is for the large devices, right? We have not written code for the small device. Even the small devices, you can see that it is something looking at the home section is good, but you can see that the navbar is not good, right? The uh, remaining navbar is hiding, right? Now here about section you can see that it is not responsive. We have to make the responsive. Skill and expertise is responsive, right? Feature is also, feature card is also responsive. And professional journey, we can make more responsive, but it is also looking great only, so you can edit more here. The get in touch, we can add more responsive. The form it is not showing, right? You can show it using CSS. So how we are going to style? So we are going to use media query. So responsive design, so first of all we write for the tablet. So on the medium devices, how we are going to style it, right? Right, so 968 pixel, max width 968 pixel. We want our neighbor menu position should be fixed, left from 100, top from 70 pixel, face direction column. So when you open it, right, when you click on the menu bar, it will open, right? So you can see that here it is showing, but when you click it will not open, because we have to add the click event, right, and all using JavaScript, right? So for that we can write there, we have to make the name menu active, left 0. So when it is active we have to make left 0. Then here the hamburger menu, that the display flex, so it will show on this width. And then about content, we have to right, fix the about content 1 fr, so it will show one by one. So it image is showing on the top, and here it is showing the content below. Before it was not responsive. Right, about image content order -1, that's why it is showing on the top, right? Otherwise it should show on the below, but I want on the image on the top, the right hand image that we have added on the large devices, right? That we have to make the order -1, it will show on the top. Then timeline padding left 30 pixel, before the timeline was 50 and all. So now we can decrease the padding from the left. You can see that we can decrease the size and the width. Then here project grid, so is project out of it, here we have mentioned 320 to 300, we have mentioned, right? Before it was 320. So depend on the size of the device, right, we can decrease the, like, the width, the size, the font and all. So similarly we can mention for the other, like mobile devices. So for mobile devices 640 pixel here it, so we want different, we are here also you can create your new root, and you can mention the here variable name, you can assign the like different size, and you can use it here spacing AMD. So this will use this spacing AMD from this here. So you can, this is the way for the different devices we can mention in the media query, and you can style it this way. So for the media, we want the grid template column 1 fr. So then padding, we have to decrease the padding. Then we have footer content, we have to make it in column wise, right, not in a, so the footer will look responsive in a column wise. Before one was on the right hand side in a row wise, right, the social icon. Now it is in a column wise, the flag direction column. So depend on the device you can uh, like mention the space, height, then the line, the color will be the same, but you can make the spacing and the how many cards should show on this, like using grid, right? How many cards should, so here it is showing here the one card at a time, but on the large device it is showing on three cards. So depend on the width of the device we can mention everything, right? Now we have to left with the JavaScript. So in the JavaScript, when we click on this, the navbar, so this will open the menu bar, and you can go to the different section, right? So how we can implement the navbar functionality? So to implement navbar functionality, we have to use the JavaScript, right? So let's go and write the JavaScript for our portfolio website. Here, first of all, we have to write the add event listener document content loader. So after the HTML file will load, then only we have to run all these functions. So all these functions we are going to create, like initializing navbar for the navbar functionality, scroll animation, then skill bars animation, right, filling the skill bars, that we have created, and the contact form submission. So all this function only run when our HTML will totally loaded. So DOM content loader is a event listener. So that is the good way to write the JavaScript functionality. So here, first of all, we have created a function init navbar. In this function we have mentioned, we have first selected the element navbar by id. So go to the navbar and you can see that the id, you have selected this element. So this is how we select the element in JavaScript. Similarly, we selected the hamburger icon, then nav menu and nav link. Then after that we have added the like scroll event, right? When user will scroll more than 50, then it will add the scroll event, otherwise it will remove the scroll event. What does the scroll event do? It will add the like the background effect, right? So see, so user has not scrolled yet, so let's scroll 50 in y. So when we scroll up to 50, then it added the back shadow. And how it is back shadow is adding? It is adding the scroll. So let me see, navbar container. So let me scroll it. See, it added the navbar scroll here. The navbar is in this the nav class uh, scrolled class has been added. When I scroll down, the scroll class is removed. You can see that on the right hand side you can see that the class will add. Let me scroll 50 in y. See, when I scroll 50 in y up to 50 pixel, then it is added the scroll class. You can see that. And scroll class, what it does, it add the like box shadow. Here in the CSS we have written the class scroll, right? So in this element, write the window dot event listener scroll. This is the event name that we are adding, right, while scrolling, right? And on the navbar, so it will apply. So here we have added the toggle mobile level. When we click on this, it will add the active class and it will remove the uh, mm, like active class. So maybe use the toggle means it will add and remove. So here we have added in CSS, right, active class, right, for the our navbar. So when we go on the navbar, when user will click, it will active, it will add the active class. So let me show you. So here is the navbar, nav container, right? And here the hamburger. So it is showing active here, active class. You can see that when I close this, active class has removed. When I open this, active class has been added. This active class, what it done, it made the display flex on the small devices that we have written in the style.css. So on user click, we have added the active class and removing the active class, it will toggling, right? Now close the menu when clicking on the nav link. So when we click on the any nav link, so we open this nav link. So when we click on it, the menu bar will automatically close. So for that we have written the when we click on each any of these nav links, so like home, like about nav link, then it will remove the active class, right? And when it will remove the active class, it will automatically hide, right? So that we have written the functionality using JavaScript. Now let's write for the scroll animation, right? For the scrolling. So in it scroll animation, that the function, then this function what it does, first of all we have created the object observer awesome, and initially the root is null, margin is 0 pixel and threshold is 1, means here we have added the like 0 0.1 10%, right? So threshold is 10%. Then observer, this is the like interaction observer. So what it does, this function what it does, it this does like when the user scroll, it will track each element when it will come in the view. So here we are scrolling it now, skill expertise section is coming in view, right? So this intersection observer will track, right, each element. So for each entry, so if it is intersecting, right, then it add the class add reveal and active, and this class will what it does, that we have written in the like CSS, and observe all element that should scroll. So first of all, skill card, skill timeline, and tag. When it will come in the like your visual section area, right? When it will come in our visual section area, then it will animate, right? So we can add it. So now it is in the visual section area, so it is showing. So let me scroll more. So we have not added yet on that. So when it will come in the scroll right for the like about content, then it will show the animation, right? So you can add the animation on each card when it will come using CSS. And here we have added for the hero section, right? And here for the each selector, first of all it will select within the right this element using selector, right? And then it will observe each element, right? We are using for each, like we use map. So here for iterating over each element. So this how we add the scroll animation. Then we can animate the skill bars. So now skill bars is not filled, right? So here skill bars, so it is not filled, right? So when we scroll it, so it will animate starting and to the 95% it will fill. How we are going to do that? So to do that, first of all we have to add the skill bar. We have to select the skill progress, that the bar, right? After that, it again we are using observer option, and in that will track when the it will come in the observer point of view, when it will come to the your screen, right? This function will track, right? So when it will come to your screen, that time we have to add, right? We have to get the data progress where we have mentioned 95 25, that the data. First, what we will do, we'll add the set timeout for the 200 millisecond, and we have to increase progress dot style dot width. That's how we add the style to this style, like width we are adding using JavaScript. The progress, this must percentage means if you added 95, it will add the 95% width, right? And stop observing was animated. So when it is animating to 95%, it will stop observing, right? And animation will stop for each bar. So observe all skill bar, not only one. So for each we have skill bar that we have selected here, right? Selected skill bar, right? And after that, selecting skill bar, the element. So this is the skill progress, the skill bar that we have selected. For on each we have to add the observer dot observe bar. So each bar will observe. So see it is animating, right? So let me go and let me scroll. Now let's go to the about. Now it is equal to skill. See, when it is came in the view, now it is started animating to 90%, 85%. When it come into view, so we have added the intersection observer. So this is the most important thing in the JavaScript, right? So you can pause the tutorial and you can write the code. And if you want the full source code, so you can get the source code from the description. So now here we have added another function. So what is this function does? This is the init contact form. So this form that, first of all we have to select the form, the name, email, subject, message, and form success. So when to show the form success, that time, so that we have selected that. So whatever the things that the functionality we have to add it on each element, so we have to add, we have to select that element, then we have to add the functionality using JavaScript. So for the email verification, this is the regex code, the expression that suppose here on the context, let's go to the context section, and here on your email, suppose you have written this. So enter a valid email address. So how it is like validating? So we have added this regex, so it will like it will identify the proper validation email. So here we have created another function, a validate field. We have passed the input, error id, and the validation function. So first of all we have to select the error id, get element by id. First of all error id, then error id means it will select the particular error, it will show the particular error for the each input, right? So for that, if not value, then it will show field is required. And if user had entered the like invalid input, that time we have to show invalid input, yeah. Otherwise error message that will come. And after that we have to make the content empty and the return true. So we have to not keep showing, so we have to remove that also when the user has written the right input, like valid input. So here we have to how we are going to validate the email. So that email regex that will created, that will test with the email that user has typed. This is the email the user typed email. Now error message will, we are attaching the error message to this if it is not match, right? And if it is match, then it will return the is valid, right? It is true or false in a boolean. So similarly we have created for the name. If name is not greater than the length 2 or equal to, then it will show a message it should be length. So here let me write one. So names must be at least 2 character. So this how we have to add the error message, and if it not, it will say return true or false based on the condition that you have written. This is the condition, right? Message length is greater than 10, right? So this is the condition. On validate on blur, when we remove that, right, your mouse, then what we have to do, name input, name error, and validate name, that will add here. You can see that when I remove that, so it will show the this, it will, when you remove the focus, then it will keep, right, if it will keep the input field that you have written here on the removing. So real time validation blur will be there, and then it will clear the input if each input, when it will be validate, then, and each input have like input id have a error, right? So each input, so we have to show error to each input. This is for the input, right? This name input, then this is for the email, right? So each input should have a particular error, so we are tracking with the error id, right? And then after that, when you form will submit, that time you have to make the if prevent default, then validate all the field using name input that user has input, then the function validate name and the name error, right? And this is the email error, this is the name that we have passed, right, for the different error. Then if it is valid, then it will collect the like value, and it will trim the space, and after collecting the data, it will show the console in the console form data that you have submitted. So let me write the valid email. So see, it is saying the valid email. So see, at least 10 character. So see, message sent successfully, and the input field will be empty. So message sent success form submitted, message sent successfully, we have to show success message at the show to send success message, that we have to show that we have written hidden before that. Now we have to add the class lead show, then that time it will show. And in the show class, we have added the display block, right? And it will show up to 5 seconds, and after that it will disappear, right? For the time hide message for after 5 seconds. So we are using set timer to for the 5 seconds. Then success model in scroll view, it will be smooth and nearest, right? You can add it, it will be very good. And then if else, then it will show the error. If form error not empty, right, then if first error, then it will show the parent dot email. So we have to show the error in that, like where is your, so it will show the error. See here subject, but here as a field required. So see, so if you keep like writing the like field, like if you keep the input invalid, then it will show the error field is required. So you have to write the, you have to fill this. So now we have written the like one word, so now it will say at least 2 character. So in at each point we can add the validation on the input, depend on you how we want to store the data based on the user input. So now we have completed our portfolio website using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. You can see that it is fully responsive, and it's, you can click on any link, you can go to the each section, right? And you can get the source code in the description. And hope you guys like the project. So we'll meet in next tutorial with a new amazing project. So thank you.